Council meeting for Monday, July 24th, 2017. We'll begin our meeting with a prayer and pledge of allegiance led by Councilor Clay.
Thank you, Madam President. I've asked the Reverend Dr. Wayne Moore, Senior Pastor of the Olivet Baptist Church of Indianapolis, to come and lead us in our invocation. Just before he comes, however, I'd like for us to take just a moment in silent observance to extend our thoughts and prayers to Deputy Chief of Investigation James Waters. We want to ask God's speedy recovery upon him and strength for his family. So let's observe a moment of silence for Deputy Chief Waters. Amen. Dr. Wayne Moore.
Shall we bow our heads? Lord, we come tonight knowing that you're King of Kings. We pray today for those who serve in public office. We ask those who write and pass our laws that they may keep their eyes fixed on your laws. Help them to realize that your law is the ultimate authority. We ask those who execute the laws that they may be filled in awe with your presence. Lord, we recognize this evening that some of us have fallen asleep, and so many who are public servants have fallen asleep, have forgotten about the difference between serving the public and killing the public. Awake them, enlighten them tonight, O God. Heal their spirit, that they might exercise righteousness as it relates to our community. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If all councilors would select the green button to indicate your attendance. There are 24 members present this evening. Councilor Johnson did ask to be excused. The next item on our agenda is introduction of guests and visitors. Councilor McHenry.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to recognize some very good friends and constituents of mine who are in the audience, and that's Ed and Lynn Locke. Ed's a great volunteer for our community in many, many ways, and Lynn is a teacher at Ritter High School. So thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Additional introductions? Councilor Osley.
Thank you, Madam President. There are 4 people in the audience. I just would like to read their names. A friend from Indican, Mr. Gerard Barnes. Friends from a past life in construction and architecture, Bill Shrewsbury and John Kish. And a friend from childhood, Miss Sibae Martin.
Vice President Adamson.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to welcome friends of mine, Linda Porter and Mark Smith.
Councilor Mowry.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to welcome Jim Grimes and Jared Nalbert for being here tonight.
The next item on our agenda is official communications. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, you are hereby notified that regular meetings of the City County Council and Police, Fire, and Solid Waste Collection Special Service District Councils will be held in the City County Building in the Council Chambers on Monday, July 24th, 2017, at 7 p.m., the purposes of such meetings being to conduct any and all business that may properly come before regular meetings of the councils. Respectfully, Maggie A. Lewis, President, City County Council. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the laws of the state of Indiana, I cause to be published in the Court and Commercial Record and in the Indianapolis Star on Wednesday, July 12, 2017, a copy of a notice of public hearing on proposal numbers 173, 174, 182, and 183, 2017, said hearing to be held on Monday, July 24th at 7 p.m. in the Public Assembly Room of the City County Building. Respectfully, Natrina DeBoe, Clerk of the City County Council. Ladies and gentlemen, I have approved with my signature and delivered this day to the Clerk of the City County Council, Natrina DeBoe, the following ordinances: Fiscal Ordinance Number 13, General Ordinance Numbers 24 through 36, Special Ordinance Numbers 3 and 4, General Resolution Numbers 8 and 9, Special Resolutions Numbers 33 and 34. Joseph H. Hogsett, Mayor. Madam President, this concludes the official communications.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Do I have consent? The next item on our agenda is the approval of the journals for July 10, 2017. Do I have consent? We'll now proceed to presentations of petitions, memorials, special resolutions, and council resolutions. Proposal number 214, introduced by Councilors McHenry, Lewis, Gray, Evans, McQuillan, Osili, and Feaster.
And the team, come on, guys. Don't be shy. Good. Let it take a picture. Yes, I am. I'm not doing the names. Smile, guys. Ed's taking the picture. Okay, this is a special resolution recognizing the Cardinal Ritter High School Raiders baseball team for their 2017 Indiana High School Athletic Association IHSAA 2A state championship win. Whereas the Cardinal Ritter Raiders won the 2017 IHSAA 2A state championship game on June 17, 2017 by defeating the Wapahani Raiders by a score of 10-4. This is their first ever baseball championship at Cardinal Ritter, and whereas the Raiders have had 5 straight sectional championships, been undefeated in the last 4 years, and in the Indiana Crossroads Conference, and had 4 straight ICC championships, 27-0, with a school record of 28-3, and
This Ben Davis graduate is happy to continue this. These are Westsiders, by the way. Whereas the Raiders beat top-rated Providence High School, Heritage Christian, Southmont, Covenant Christian, Cecina, and Cascade. The Raiders have a great fan base and a traveling mascot in Loretta the Log. And whereas the Raiders are led by head coach Dave Scott, who is IHSBCA District L Coach of the Year, and supported by assistant coaches Mike DeChant, Scott Leverins, David Scott, Greg Go, Fred Sheets, and Nate Mills. And whereas the baseball team members consist of, excuse if I mispronounce your names, excuse me,
let Bob do that.
Blake Malententistic, who was the State Mental Attitude Award winner and is the face of the IHSAA Sportsman Campaign. Jake Klumper, Alex Vella, Brian Bacon, Kyle Prace, Ben Engolf, Luke Shearer, Dylan Olenek, Henry Woodcock, you want to come here and read it with me? Audrey Gaynor, Brian Easel, Joey Gruber, Gus Esterline, Damian Wallace, LaRon Fleming, Dalton Hicks, Bryce Giebel, Ben McCall, Dan Baylor, Grant Efert, Jack Henninger, and Joey Wynn. Now therefore, Councilor McHenry?
Be it resolved by the County Council of the City of Indianapolis and of Marion County, Indiana, Section 1. The Indianapolis City County Council proudly recognizes the Cardinal Ritter High School Raiders baseball team for winning the 2017 IHSAA 2A State Championship. Section 2. The council extends its congratulations to the entire team, the coaching staff, and school administration on their achievement and wishes each player great success in their future endeavors, both athletically and academically. The mayor is invited to join in this resolution by affixing his signature here too. This resolution shall be in full force and effect upon adoption and compliance with IC 363414. This special resolution was sponsored by Councilors McHenry, Lewis, Gray, and Evans, and was passed by City County Council this 24th day of July 2017, and with that, I so move.
The motion's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Back to the speakers.
Okay, and it's a great privilege to recognize this West Side team for working so hard, and I would like to turn it over to their coach to say a few words.
Thank you, Councilwoman McHenry. Thank you, the entire City Council, City County Council. This was an amazing team. These guys had a goal day one, and they achieved the goal. And they never quit. They went out and worked hard every single day. We had a little bit of adversity going into the regional championship. We were down 2-1 in the 7th inning. We go back, we score 4 runs, we never look back, we win a state title. It's a great thing for our school. We were 28-3, which is a school record. This was, we had so many tremendous players. Really, it's an attribute to these guys. It's not the coaching staff necessarily. These guys are special guys, and it helps when you have special guys that have a special goal, and they go to achieve it. Not to mention, we also, this was a big deal for us. This is the highest ranked a team's ever been at Cardinal Ritter. We were ranked 15th in the nation in small schools. So it was a very big deal. And again, we appreciate you guys, everything you've done, everything you do for us. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So those, and I got things for all of you.
Okay.
So I would give them to you. I'll let you pass them out.
The next item on our agenda is proposal number 176, referred to Admin and Finance Committee. Chairman Simpson.
I see Bob Osley is down here. He can speak for me. This is, at the last minute, it came over to me. Madam Chair, Proposal 176, 2017, confirmed the mayor appointment of Mark K. Sullivan as a hearing officer to preside over the administrative adjudicate parking citation, environmental violation. The proposal was heard in committee on Tuesday, July the 18th, and Mr. Sullivan appeared before the committee and shared his qualification and answered questions. The proposal passed out of committee by a vote of 8-0. Madam President, I so move.
The motion's been properly moved and seconded. Are there comments from councilors? Seeing none, proceed to the board for our vote. The proposal carries 21-1. The next item on our agenda is introductions of proposals. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam President. Proposal numbers 179 and 180, both refer to the Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee, both introduced by Councilor Robinson. Proposal number 179 approves transfers and additional appropriations in the 2017 budget of the Marion Superior Court, court equipment, drug testing, drug treatment diversion, state grants, federal grants, and county grants funds to cover contractual obligations, equipment, and staff salaries and benefits. Proposal number 180 approves an additional appropriation in the 2017 budget of the Marion County Sheriff State and Federal Grants Funds to provide mental and behavioral health treatment jail programs and equipment for the Communications Division, funded by grants from the Indiana Department of Correction and the Department of Justice. Proposal numbers 188 and 189, both referred to the Public Works Committee, both introduced by Councilor Adamson. Proposal number 188 approves additional appropriations of $3,140,000 in the 2017 budget of the Department of Public Works, Stormwater Management, Stormwater Capital, Rebuild Indy, and Transportation General Funds to purchase supplies and vehicles for the Channel Maintenance Services Group, Stormwater Capital Program Design and Construction, Transportation Capital Program Design and Construction, and to provide safer routes to school program supplies. Proposal number 189 approves a transfer of $100,000 in the 2017 budget of the Department of Public Works, City Cumulative Parks and Recreation Fund to cover the cost of appraisal services, painting, and demolition. Proposal numbers 200 through 202, all referred to the Metropolitan and Economic Development Committee. Proposal number 200, introduced by Councilor Adamson, authorizes the Metropolitan Development Commission and the Department of Metropolitan Development to execute debt obligation in an amount not to exceed $4,650,000 to acquire land for redevelopment. Proposal number 201, introduced by Councilor Osley, amends portions of the code regarding the definitions, use-specific standards, and regulations that address farmers markets, commercial vehicles, and recreational vehicles in order to aid zoning enforcement. Proposal number 202, introduced by Councilors Miller and Osley, as a new chapter to the code regarding allocation of property taxes paid on property transferred by certain entities. Proposal numbers 203 to 208, I'll refer to the Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee. Proposal number 203, introduced by Councilors Robinson and Lewis, reappoints Elizabeth Eglin to the Domestic Violence Fatality Review Team. Proposal number 204, introduced by Councilors Robinson and Lewis, reappoints Magistrate Kimberly Mattingly to the Domestic Violence Fatality Review Team. Proposal number 205, introduced by Councilors Robinson and Lewis, appoints Nola Hunt to the Domestic Violence Fatality Review Team. Proposal number 206, introduced by Councilors Robinson and Lewis, appoints Tiffany Woods to the Domestic Violence Fatality Review Team. Proposal number 207, introduced by Councilor Robinson, approves the appointment of Tyler Balma as the Director of the Marion County Community Corrections Agency. Proposal number 208, introduced by Councilor Robinson, approves an additional appropriation of $237,391 in the 2017 budget of the Marion County Public Defender Agency, County General Fund, to hire a new TPR CHINS team and for reimbursement of capital and life without parole public defense cases offset by reimbursements from the Indiana Public Defender Commission. Proposal numbers 209 to 212, all refer to the Public Works Committee. Proposal number 209, introduced by Councilor Evans, authorizes intersection controls at Auburn and Henry Streets in District 22. Proposal number 210, introduced by Councilors Miller and Mascari, authorizes a speed limit reduction of 25 miles per hour in the Bates-Hendricks neighborhood in District 16 and 21. Proposal number 211, introduced by Councilor Holliday, authorizes intersection controls at Mann and Southport Roads in District 20. Proposal number 212, introduced by Councilors Osley and Adamson, authorizes intersection controls at the intersections of Alabama and 17th Street, New Jersey and 17th Street, and Carrollton Avenue and 17th Street in Districts 11 and 17. And proposal number 213, introduced by Councilors Fanning, Evans, Cordy, and Miller, referred to the Rules and Public Policy Committee, amends the code to expand non-smoking areas within the consolidated city to include public parks owned or leased by the city or county. Madam President, this concludes the introduction of proposals.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on our agenda is special orders priority business. There is no business there. We'll proceed as special orders public hearing. Proposal number 173, referred to Admin and Finance Committee. Chairman Simpson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Proposal number 173, 2017, approved an additional appropriation of $19,649 in the 2017 budget of the Marion County Auditor ineligible deduction fund to cover the cost of 2 secure MICR check printers and additional expense related to the real estate division remodeling project. The proposal was heard in committee on Tuesday, July the 18th. CFO Brown explained that these money are partly for emergency replacement of 2 printers that print all checks for payroll and purchase for the enterprise. The rest of the appropriation is to replace dollars used for remodeling of the real estate division, as those dollars were shifted, paid for the printer, as well as additional dollars need to complete that project, allow for more efficiency in the office. This proposal passed out of committee by a vote 8-0. Madam President, I so move.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Are there comments from councilors? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 173? Seeing none, we'll proceed to the board for our vote. The proposal carries 24-0. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 174, refer to Admin and Finance Committee. Chairman Simpson.
Madam Chair, Proposal 174, 2017, appropriate additional $30,000 in the 2017 budget of the City County Council to fund the completion of the voting system and legislative management upgrade as related expenses. The proposal was heard in the committee on Tuesday, July the 18th. Clerk DeBow appeared before the committee, explained that the purchase order was created early on in the process, anticipating the purchase of individual tablets to be assigned to the counselor in the public assembly room. However, since the time purchase order was created, technology has changed, and now they're in need of a different type of device. The way purchase orders are handled meant that they had to cancel out the previous purchase order and release the funds, and then issue a new purchase order with the proper device indicated. She said that the new cost is actually $5,400 less than the previous device. The proposal passed out of committee by a vote 8-0. Madam President, I so move.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Are there comments from councilors? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 174? Seeing none, we'll proceed to the board for our vote. Councilor Fanning? Thank you. The proposal passes 24-0. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 175, refer to Admin and Finance Committee. Chairman Simpson.
Madam Chair, proposal number 175, 2017, authorize the issue of notes in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $20 million for the purpose of providing funds to be applied to pay a portion of the planning and design costs in connection with a proposal community justice campus and appropriation proceed thereof. The proposal was heard in committee on Tuesday, July the 18th, and the Corporation County Council, Andy Mallon, and Sycamore Advisor President Diane Hamilton shared the next step in funding the pre-construction design for the purpose of the criminal justice facility to be built in the Twin Air neighborhood on the old Citizen Energy Coke plant. They provided conservative estimates of the cost of the project and the detailed expense for the planning that already has taken place. The total estimate cost is under previous estimate a little over $571 million instead of $575 million originally projected. The estimate annual payment will be a little over $47.7 million, which include debt service payment as well as operation and maintenance, utility and life cycles costs. Mr. Mallon and Ms. Hamilton indicated that these are conservative estimate, and they believe, based on the projection, that they will have money in the stakeholder budget savings due to the consolidated facility to fund this project without any tax increase. Andy Mallon said that the payment will not begin until the agency actually move into the new facility, which anticipated will not be until 2021. The committee member asked very extensive questions, and several members of the public spoke both in favor and opposition to the proposal, including members of the neighborhood surrounding and the sites who support the project for economic development. It will bring in individuals for the No New Jail Coalition who oppose the new jail anywhere in Marion County. All councilors should have received a copy of the minutes from last Friday via email from the clerk of the committee with 18 pages of very detailed information, which I will not go into. Well, I think we got time. This agenda's short. Everybody agree? No. Huh? Can I get a consent? Oh, okay. Which I will not go into hearing again tonight. Those minutes were also posted online to the public to view. The proposal passed out of committee by a vote 8-0. Madam President, I so move. And Madam President, I want to say that I appreciate all the hard work that everybody has done to get us to just to start. And I just want to say we got a long ways to go, and there's a lot more to do. So, Madam President, I so move.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Are there comments from councilors? Councilor Miller?
I'm impressed that there's no other. I'm imagining there will be more comments. But yes, Madam President, thank you for a chance to speak on this. I supported the previous jail plan, a criminal justice center plan. I supported it because it was a model that allowed us to get a jail built, but then we did need to pay to run it. And we were going to pay to run it by savings that we would incorporate by building the new facility. And those savings were presented up front. We looked at those, figured out whether the model would work or not, and I was comfortable with it. Something to point out on that model, though, is we had to spend $17 million some dollars up front to figure out what the proposal was. That ended up going nowhere. The proposal didn't get approved, but those plans were able to be used this time around. But the point is we had to spend money up front to be able to figure out, can we do this? What's the feasibility? So I look at this current situation. Now we're looking at a situation where we're going to bond, but it'll be our facility at the end. It'll cost us money up front because we have to build it, but we'll pay it off with, once again, the savings. So in many regards, this is a similar model in that we are able to pull this off with the savings that will be presented before us. We didn't have a lot of information the first time around when we spent that $17 million. We actually have more information this time. I'm actually more comfortable with what I've seen at this point. I appreciated that Andy Mallon said basically, I'm not asking you to spend $20 million to figure out whether you like a project I'm going to present to you a year from now or 6 months from now. I don't want you to spend it at all if you don't like what you see. So this is a very serious decision tonight, because we're not just looking at, do we spend $20 million to solidify a project? We're looking at, is this going to work, period? We shouldn't spend this money if we don't think it's going to work. So I respect people that vote yes. I respect people that vote no. I've seen enough to convince me that we need to go forward, and I'm going to support it. I am really disappointed, however, the large portion of the money we're going to have to spend, I believe upwards of $8 million a year, falls into a category that had to be termed as other. Because it was not savings from the sheriff, from the clerks, or from the judges, and it was money that had to be made up to account for a gap. And I want to point out that there was not a gap last time around. There was a substantially larger amount, from $11 to $13 million, that the sheriff committed to that balanced our savings. Because that money doesn't exist this time around, because the savings is down to $34 million for reasons that I don't at this point fully understand and I'm not comfortable with. We're having to spend road funding money that could be used to pave roads. We're spending Medicaid, Medicare money that may or may not be there in the future. We're having to make up a gap. So I would like to challenge our sheriff candidates to match or exceed the current numbers that are being laid out, because every dollar that is saved would, if this project goes forward, beyond what the sheriff is currently committed, would allow us to have money to pave roads, would allow us to spend money on other things. I don't understand how originally there was a commitment of savings that now leaves us with a giant gap, how it can be over $10 million a year less savings by a department. But regardless, the current sheriff won't be in office when this is done. It will be up to the new sheriff. So I'm really challenging the candidates, please, you are saving us money every dollar you meet, every dollar you exceed at least what is laid out before us, money that will go into our neighborhoods. So we need to figure this out. But overall, bottom line is we need a jail. It is dangerous. I am tired of getting in an elevator and having other folks in an elevator with me that have just left a court hearing they're probably not pleased with the decision on. And many times the judge that made the decision might be in that elevator. Folks, we need a new jail, and we've been kicking this can down the road for a long time. I am comfortable with what's been laid before us, and I would like us to proceed forward for us to make a final decision next year on this money. I'll be voting yes tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Additional comments from councilors? At this point, we will allow public testimony. You will be allowed no more than 2 minutes. We ask that you state your name when you come forward. If you are part of an organized group and there is a statement that's already prepared for you, we do ask that maybe you flip a coin and allow one individual from your organization to speak, but please do not read the prepared speech more than once. So, Madam Clerk, if you would give us the first 3 individuals.
James Martin, Stuart Mora, Demi Abbott.
Thank you. I have a statement from Sheriff Layton. Madam President and members of the council, I'm in full support of the effort to build a new community justice campus. Indianapolis has been in need of a new jail for some time. Our facilities are antiquated and structurally inadequate. A safer facility would allow our personnel the efficiency to care and keep up the security of inmate population in Marion County. For months, my staff has been working closely with Major Hogsett's team to look at every opportunity for savings that might be used to fund the Justice Campus. I believe Mayor Hogsett's team and my team have come together to present a very solid financial picture, one that is being presented here tonight. I believe that we are there. I believe that the funding sources are realistic, and I am confident that it is the time to begin design of the Justice Campus facilities. The staffing reductions identified in this process are realistic, and a newly designed jail with modern correctional architecture and cutting-edge technology will allow many fewer deputies and correctional officers to manage the inmate population. Most importantly, beyond mere bricks and mortar, I fully support the new approach to criminal justice in our community. As many of you know, 40% of our inmates are classified as mentally ill. This represents approximately 900 individuals who are suffering from mental illness in our jails every day. Many of these individuals would not be in custody if they were able to receive proper mental health care in the community at large. Additionally, 30% of the inmates are otherwise chronically ill, and 85 suffer from addiction to alcohol, drugs, or both. We are facing a healthcare crisis. Mayor Hogsett has set a laudable goal to keeping people out of jail. If there is no legitimate security concern about their being in the community, I applaud that goal. As we described to you, the new Justice Campus will feature an assessment center where individuals with mental health or addiction issue can receive proper health care and referral to health care providers outside of the jail. In the new jail, we will have 300-bed medical unit where ill or injured inmates get properly enhanced care and will keep them out of the hospital and safe until it's time for their release. I believe that the mayor's team and my staff have done an extraordinary job in planning the financing of these new facilities. I encourage you to support the funding being requested tonight. Thank you for your time.
There was a letter from the sheriff.
Hello, councilors. My name is Stuart Mora. I'm the president of Unite Here, the Indiana chapter of Unite Here Local 23. We are 1,000 food service workers here in central Indiana, and we are here to support the proposed Justice Center this evening. Many of our members and their families have contact with the justice system here in our community. And I shared this story in the committee hearing. I'll share it again this evening. I spoke with one of our members last year a woman who grew up on the east side of town, raising her 2 kids. She had a brother who had long been diagnosed as mentally ill, bipolar and schizophrenic. She and her family believed that he was in and around the Midtown Mental Health Clinic. About a week from her last contact, she received a call from the jail and found out from the jail that he was dead, that he had allegedly committed suicide. This is a very sad story. It was a very sad story for her family, and frankly, it was an unnecessary story. Someone with that kind of mental illness did not belong in our jail, but needed to be assessed and to find an opportunity for help, for health care. Our Justice Center, we have an opportunity tonight to take a step forward. This is not a victory per se. This is a step forward for our community. We have a long ways to go on our Justice Center, but as a union, for the many stories that we've heard, we'd like to see a step forward this evening. We support the proposed Justice Center. Thank you so much.
Madam Clerk, will you give us the next 3 individuals on the list?
Yes, ma'am. Lucas Waterfield, Brenda McTee, Jeff Sparks.
And if you can come up now, that would be great. Make your way to the podium, please. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Demi Abbott. I'm a middle school teacher on the near west side of Indianapolis. Most of my students, the majority of them, are raised in poverty and in a very urban setting. One of my students this past year in 6th grade had an older brother who'd been at our school the year before who was arrested for being in association with a situation where drugs were involved. And I saw the way that it affected his performance in school and just him as a whole. His brother is 14. As of right now, there are programs for him, programs that I know that he's taking advantage of, and I've been watching his younger brothers and sister watch him change and watch him turn his life around. And my hope is that they can watch him graduate high school. But right now, he's only 14. He's not an adult. My question is what happens when he's 19? A 19-year-old of the same background, of the same risk factors for getting into the system for the first time, doesn't have the same chance of getting help. But just like my student's brother, he was someone's student too. He was sitting in the same classroom that my students are sitting in, but just a couple years before. This story is not a single situation. It's not a one-time thing. And this story is not new. This problem is not new. And if there's an opportunity to take a step in the right direction of fixing it, then we should take it as a city. I support the proposed criminal justice center and the challenge our community to continue moving towards treating individuals as whole human beings, not just writing them off as criminals who do not deserve our full love and support. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lucas Waterfield. I am a resident of Indianapolis. I live on 601 West St. Clair Street, next to the canal, and I am here to support the proposal tonight because I have had experiences with drugs and drug overdose, heroin being the main experience I've had. I've had 3 friends pass away tragically because of heroin overdose, and I believe that this proposal would have helped them get the right rehabilitation, get the right help they needed. And again, I repeat what Stuart said, this is not victory. This is not, the fight is not over to end opioid addiction, but I think this is a step in the right direction. And I urge you to support the Community Justice Center. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Brenda McAtee, and I'm from Norwood. I'm the president of Norwood Neighborhood Association, and Norwood would appreciate and welcome the Justice Center. It would make our quality of life feel much safer. We have a lot of seniors that's been there forever, and with this Justice Center coming, it will make them feel freely to walk more comfortably now through the neighborhood and not worrying about something happening to them. So I support the Justice Center.
I'm Jeff Sparks. I've been working in the Twin Air neighborhood, and as some of you may know, we just received the Great Places 2020 designation, and I'm going to be walking with them together in that program. There's a lot of good folks from the area, and there's a lot of great support, and I'm going to yield my time to the good folks in that neighborhood to tell you why they support this.
Madam Clerk.
Rachel Cooper, Ann Holy, Paul Smith.
I'm Rachel Cooper. I'm the president of Southeast Community Organization. That we have to look at the jail every day, and we support this. We're so happy that the justice system is going in the old Twin Air site. And we feel like the mental health piece of this is very important to us as the neighborhood, because we have a lot of homeless and a lot of drug addicts that's hanging around. And I think they're coming from the jail straight out into the neighborhoods. And we hope with communication through the jail that this is a problem solved for the neighborhood. And I've been president for 27 years, and this is the most positive thing that the city of Indianapolis has ever brought to this neighborhood. Thank you.
Madam President, councilors, I'm Ann Holy, president of the Christian Park Neighborhood Association and a member of the Great Places 2020 project. Christian Park is one of the surrounding neighborhoods of the Twin Air project, and we fully support this. This will bring jobs, economic development, increased housing, opportunity for everyone. I've lived in that neighborhood for a long time, and there's development going on all around us. So we should be the next piece in the puzzle. In addition to which, Southeastern Avenue runs from just outside the downtown area and will connect directly to 465 and 74. So that will bring even more opportunity for any number of business and economic developments. We support this and hope you will as well. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Paul Smith. I'm fortunate to be the president of Southeast Neighborhood Development, or SEND, as many of you may know. I just wanted to let you know that it's been an incredible journey for SEND to watch the support that the community has brought forth for this particular proposal, especially after what happened on the west side when there was real concern about exactly where those neighbors stood. There's no question here with this neighborhood, I'll tell you. They stand strong, they stand tall, they want this project and would really appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Jasmine Ray, Marshall Shackelford, Gerard Barnes.
Good evening. I'm Jasmine Ray. I'm the president of the West and East of Churchman Avenue Neighbors, or WECAN. The WECAN members have discussed the proposed community justice campus during several of our meetings. We're excited to know that the campus could very soon be opening in Twin Air. Not only will the development bring positives for Twin Air, but we are also looking forward to increases in commercial and residential development within the Wecan neighborhood. While we also expect an increased police presence as officers commute to and from the campus, we are especially excited about the increase in mental health and substance abuse treatment services that are needed by so many Marion County residents. Furthermore, as the campus creates new jobs, we look forward to welcoming new neighbors to our growing community. Thank you.
Madam President, distinguished council members, thank you for the opportunity to address you today. My name is Marshall Shackelford. I'm here representing the Marion County Reentry Coalition. Over the past year, the Marion County Reentry Coalition, the MCRC, has had several opportunities to provide input to the Mayor's Task Force on Criminal Justice Reform. The coalition feels that the recommendations put forth by the task force and supported by Mayor Hogsett are comprehensive and integrated with best practices in criminal justice. The Bureau of Justice Statistics estimates that 64% of local jail inmates have symptoms of serious mental illness. It estimates that 58% are dependent on drugs or alcohol. These staggering statistics support the need for comprehensive screening, assessment, and diversion to programs that are focused on treating the conditions that are often the primary contributors to criminal activity. Additionally, we know that Marion County recidivism rate is one of the highest in the state, despite our increased service capacity. This means that we're currently not setting our people up for success upon release. We are optimistic that the criminal justice reform efforts will allow each person that enters the criminal justice system in Marion County to receive pre-release reentry assessment planning services that will create a bridge to warm the handoff to post-release services. The MCRC also supports what national research tells us about the importance of validated risk assessments in all aspects of criminal justice planning, including pre-trial bond decisions. Pre-trial supervision and detainment decisions should be made based on risk rather than someone's ability to pay. Finally, we are supportive of the plan to build a criminal justice complex that will help criminal justice agencies streamline their processes and will remove barriers to individuals that interact with the system. The MCRC believes that having an assessment and intervention center as a dedicated reentry space where community-based providers can begin the reentry process pre-release and be immediately connected to post-release services will have a significant impact on the recidivism rate.
Thank you.
We support the administration's effort to implement the task force recommendations, which will allow criminal justice reform to become.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gerard Barnes. I'm the Live Free Director for IndyCan, part of the PICO National Network, which is the largest faith-based organization for organizing in the world, and we represent the 17 largest denominations in the state of Indiana, and we're very excited about this criminal justice reform. We're less excited about the facility and more excited about the plan. 3 years ago, we stood in this room and saw a plan that we could not support fully and stand behind, and we went to the very institute, began to talk to city councilors, and began to talk to people like University of Wisconsin and study best practices across this country and shared them with city councilors and with people around this city. And this plan actually involves so many of those best practices we saw, all the way down to the way that we handle people that have mental health issues, the way that we handle our five problem courts being animated to the place where they're going to actually be able to serve our people in better and stronger ways. And we see that in the long run, while we do still agree that there's an inordinate amount of money being poured into imprisonment and to policing, we know that in order to have a transformation, we have to do the work. And this gives us an opportunity to dig and do the work, and we're very excited. In the last election, we were able to animate 1,200 volunteers to make 164,000 calls and move 41,000 people to the polls. We're excited about that, and we intend to do even more in this next election process, and our people are going to be excited about a plan a narrative that begins to shift the way Marion County does work and does its work. So we commend you.
Luke Paymer, Ed Oyster, Dago Benega.
Good evening, council members. My name is Luke Paymer. I'm part of the No New Jail Coalition, and I am grateful to be the first thorn in everyone's side tonight. I am urging you to vote no on Proposal 175 because over the last several years, I've worked as a mental health professional in this city with a focus specifically on addiction. And after reviewing the Justice Campus task force and the report, I was so thankful to see the importance that was placed on mental health and addiction. However, it's simply not enough. It's not enough. We can look at the numbers. If we do look at the number of beds that is proposed for the special wing, it is 300. I was happy to hear an officer talk about that earlier. However, in the own task report, it says 40% of the people incarcerated struggle with mental health, and also 85% struggle with addiction. And so if we have 300 beds, but we have over 2,600 people that are in the facility, we're looking at hundreds and hundreds of people that are not getting the help that they properly deserve. And so what I'm asking you is to give the people the proper treatment. I know that the people that wrote this and everybody voting on this is going to vote what they believe is going to be in the people's best interests. I don't believe that we have a malicious agenda here. What I'm asking is that you show that care. And if we're going to be spending $20 million, we should not be spending it on a proposal that we know that hundreds of people are still totally left in the dark on, and we're not giving them the proper help. So until we go forward with this plan, I believe that it should be a little bit halted. Let's just take a couple steps back, and let's talk to the more mental health professionals, because the people that you have talked to, that's great, but we need to talk to more because we let a weak spot go because there's still hundreds of people out, as I've said. And most importantly, we need to talk to the people who are currently incarcerated and are dealing with these issues and see what they want out of this. This thing is being built for them. We should not be deciding what the people that are going to be in there are going to experience. So please, let's vote no tonight, and let's discuss this to make sure the people that deserve to help get it. Thank you very much.
Well, esteemed council members, my name is Reverend Ed Dykstra. It was not a problem that she had, probably with my handwriting, that made me Oyster rather than Dykstra. I'm affiliated with Tabernacle Presbyterian Church, Central Christian Churches, and I'm a member of IndyCan. At the last two council meetings, and again at this one, you've honored those who have made a difference for all of us here in Indianapolis. Tonight, you have the opportunity to do yourselves proud. You can support the effort to radically change the nature of our culture in Indianapolis. In passing this $20 million bond purchase, you can significantly change the way that we treat each other and in which we view each other. Those with mental illness will be valued as 100% human beings by being given the treatment that they require instead of being hidden away in a jail cell. Those who have been fighting addiction will be reclaimed with appropriate treatment and with an encouragement to find their place again with their families and in seeking employment, and yes, as they return to our neighborhoods, rather than being locked away in a city jail. In addition, those who need to be separated from society for a time will be shown that by having a facility that tells them they are worthwhile because they have been treated in a place that is a whole lot better than where they have been currently. The bonds that you will be voting for will be one step closer to creating a safe and healthier city. And I will just close with saying an opportunity that you have as representatives have tonight to bring honor yourselves and wholeness to our community. I hope that you see the major changes that you can bring about by not just building
Thank
a
you.
building, but rebuilding
Thank you.
people. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dago Banegas, and I represent most of the Hispanic community in this area. I'm living over there for 21 years now, and I am the co-chair on the opportunities in this area right now, and I am really excited with this proposal 175, and I hope this can bring more opportunities, not only for your community, is for our Latino community too. We have I think it's the 22% in this area, and bring more opportunities with this proposal, and can be good for us. And I am planning to, and I think too, to have a good sport program in this area too. It will help a lot. And I think it's not only the pros and cons, but I hope we can bring more security too to our community in this area. Thank you for this. I'm proud for this, for 175. Thank you.
Junior Spellman, Aaron Marshall, Joan Venore.
Good evening, Councilman. I am apparently on a totally different issue, and yours is so much more serious. I would decline speaking until you're on the subject of your dog park proposals. Humans are much more important. Thank you.
Ma'am, we're not taking public testimony for the dog park. Okay, all right. I don't want you to, okay, all righty.
Hi, I'm Erin Marshall. I'm a member of Decarcerate Marion County and the No New Jail Coalition. The No New Jail Coalition does not want to simply stop the construction of the Justice Campus and continue business as usual. We also want to see people who are being held currently released, and we want to see a drastic cut in arrests. These two things alone would disrupt the status quo, end overcrowding, and create the opportunity to consolidate the jails to the point of completely evacuating a single facility so that facility could be renovated. Once renovated, that facility can be used until we have created a city in which we have better ways of dealing with our problems than putting our neighbors in cages. Maybe you don't like this idea, maybe you don't think it will work, but it's an idea, and it's one that doesn't cost $650 million. In the Admin and Finance Committee meeting last Tuesday, Blake Johnson said this proposed Justice Campus isn't perfect, and Andy Mallon said maybe one day we could close a pod, and then another, and then even more. Presumably, eventually, the entire facility. Why would you approve a proposal to spend $20 million on planning and design of a $650 million Justice Campus that is both imperfect and which you have hopes of one day being able to close? I met with Councilor Johnson and Tim Moriarty, and we talked about things like building grocery stores and community centers, creating living wage jobs, and addressing mental health and addictions outside the criminal justice system. Tim pointed out that there are things that are not in the purview of the government, and you have to look at what you can do in your positions. This is the dilemma. The dilemma is not whether or not to build a Justice Campus. It is deciding between perpetuating the status quo and widening the net of incarceration by constructing a larger jail and co-locating social services on the same plot of land, or taking the hard way to discover how we can work in collaboration to rebuild the framework of safety, justice, and caring for our neighbors. If the mayor and council are not careful, I fear the exact thing you don't want to see happen absolutely will. You will be that union organizer who said in the committee meeting that he wants to dismantle the prison industrial complex and believes in the construction of a new jail. You will be people who have the moral conviction of serving your constituents and meeting their needs while ensnaring them in the system. In the end, you will have only exacerbated the problem you were hoping to solve. Please do not vote in favor of this proposal. We can do better. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joan Venori. I'm with the No New Jail Coalition. I'm deeply heartened to hear how much everybody in this room is concerned about the mental health care of inmates and concerned about mental health diversion. My main concern, I would have been in favor of delaying this a little so that we could ensure we had funding for something to divert them to, given the shortage of adequate mental health services in the community. And I would have been glad to see enough delay to think about whether a smaller facility and more funding for mental health and homeless services would have made more sense. But if we go ahead tonight, I think we're honor bound to make very sure the mental health services and services for the homeless are in place when we claim that this is about diversion. I also couldn't help noticing that in the task force report there was a great emphasis on what we would save in this measure, but not a whole lot of emphasis on improved care. There was nothing about how we would allocate funds to make sure that people with serious mental illnesses would get the medications they need instead of substandard medications that would have worse side effects and be less effective. I wasn't seeing in the task force report that we'd be absolutely certain that people experiencing psychotic breaks or flashbacks or other traumatic symptoms in jail would go directly to the AIC and then to a hospital instead of getting thrown into solitary. I think if we go forward with this plan for the reasons we say we're going to, we are absolutely honor bound in the design phase to make sure those things have a guarantee. Thank you.
Yeah, I got more, sorry. Farrah Baston, Larry Vaughn, Lawrence Coffey.
Good evening. My name is Farrah Baston, and I'm a Marion County resident. Up to 40% of jail inmates are classified as mentally ill, and about 85% of inmates have substance abuse problems. I believe that the funds proposed to build the new jail should instead be used to provide additional services for mental health and addiction. Building a new jail is a part of the plan to help provide more services, but I do not believe this plan will work, and here's why. My sister has an illness called borderline personality disorder. She was destructive to the community and to herself. I truly believed that by the time she turned 18, she would either be dead or incarcerated. My mother had to give up custody to the state so that my sister could get Medicaid. DCS helped my sister get into a high-quality facility which specialized in the type of treatment that she needed. After a year of treatment, my sister is a totally different person who is now working to give back to the community by going to school to become certified to be an aide in a mental health care facility. Her success is due to the state giving her the resources and the amount of time that she needed to give her a chance at life. On the other hand, my uncle, who struggles with alcohol addiction, had several DUI charges and was placed in county jail and then state prison, where he was promised addiction treatment services. During his time there, he did not receive any treatment at all. The justice system had good intentions of providing him with treatment, but the implementation was not there. Now he is back home and drinking again, and likely to be incarcerated again. 12 months of real treatment to create a contributing member of society, or 18 months of incarceration to ruin someone's life. The way to prevent recidivism is treatment in a specialized facility, not jail time. Thank you for your time.
Larry Vaughn, please. I just want you to bear with me for a minute. Now, if we were 80 years ago in the town of Auschwitz in Germany, and they came to a town that was economically depressed, and they had a side of town that was economically depressed and said, we're gonna come and build a new justice center or a new concentration camp. We're gonna deal with mental ill persons, we're gonna deal with the people that come into the jail, we're gonna mix the two together when we know that the asylum is the appropriate place for a drug addict and someone that's dealing with mental illnesses. But we're gonna wrap the two together and tie it into our public safety system. Thereby we can criminalize every act of addiction that we see fit to do, which is a Class D felony. So I'll take you back to this town. The audience was full, the counselors were set up there, everybody in the audience had some kind of a special need. They had land to sell, they had some service to sell, they had a job that they wanted to get, and of course, they passed the resolution. But then, when the concentration camp moved in, they wanted to change their mind. It was too late then. So what we're doing now, I could talk all night about because it's been done before, but just go to prisonplanet.com. It will allow you to see exactly what's going on here tonight, as it's going on in any depressed town, who have the prisoners lined up and ready to shuffle in, first with alcoholism, then, as you've seen tonight, they've used junkies and heroin addicts to push this proposal across the line. Just as I've told you on other occasions when I stood at this podium, these people are about getting as many people hooked on heroin as they can. That's what they're doing tonight, and they're going to benefit if they build this facility to what it is really a concentration camp. PrisonPlanet.com, folks. That can explain to you in your time. You know, you go everywhere else. Go to Prison Planet, please. PrisonPlanet.com.
Hi, my name's Larry Coffey, Lawrence. 46 years old. I'm here to support Proposal 175 for many reasons. First of all, I grew up in the Christian Park area, which is a stone's throw from Twin Air. And I bought my first house there when I was 21. At 2004, I moved away, bought a house in the suburbs, but something drew me back to the area. I don't know what it was, but it's home to me. I love the area, the people that live there. It's gotten diverse over the years. Over the years, I've seen the area decline. There used to be a Sears Service Center in the area, there's Nationwide Auto Parts. Nowadays, we can't even support a grocery store. There was a grocery store at Sherman in Washington. There's no longer one there. There's one at Twin Air, it's a small grocery store. The prices are extremely high. So I think this proposal will benefit the area as far as economically. Not only that, for me, I have personal reasons for this. In 2013, I lost a daughter to the heroin epidemic. She was college educated, she was 23 years old, and despite my medical insurance I had through my employer, she couldn't find help. She couldn't find anyone to take her. Vala Vista wouldn't take her. So I'm hoping that with this new facility, that people like my daughter can get help. She went there to try to get help, and she was turned away because of my insurance. 45 days later, she passed away because of it. So I'm in support of Proposal 175, and thank you guys.
Ethan Evans, Wayne Coleman, Jess Ray.
Hello, Ethan Evans. I'm with No New Jail Coalition and D10 Black Lives Matter, and I'm also a union member, Local 30. And I am against the proposal because of all the points mentioned out by my friends. It has a mental health portion, but it doesn't have enough. It only has 150 beds aside for mental health care, but the sheriff's office said itself there's over 900 people in there that currently suffer from mental illnesses, and that's less than 30% of people would be cared for. And something else that got brought up at the last community meeting was, why not just build the assessment center now at the current jail and push this down the line so that way we can help the people now who have mental illnesses, who have substance abuse problems, instead of making them wait years for the development and the building costs and everything and the planning to go through. Because we can build those things now. You know, we can set aside beds, we can get people in from hospitals and treatment centers to work for much less than $600 million and do it faster than building a whole new jail facility. And another thing that I heard from the planning committee and from the task force is that they're planning to move the juvenile detention center into the same facility in the coming years, and I don't think that's a good idea to put juveniles in the same location as would be adult criminals. So just because that sounds like a bad idea. So those are my 2 cents, and just real quick, for the people who applauded the earlier people for their comments about the new jail, we commented the same thing, saying we need more mental health care and substance abuse care. So I'm thinking you were just applauding a new jail being built. So thank you.
Yes, good evening. Wade Coleman. I support the idea of the Justice Center, but do not support this proposal number 175 as written. And the reason why is because this is Mayor Ballard all again. Proposal number 339, I believe. We've allocated $15 million for legal services, engineering services, and all these type of fees, but we have nothing to show for it. So what guarantee do we have from you guys and Mayor Hogsett that, number one, taxes will not be increased, number two, we will not be in the same position 2 years from now, paying another $20 million to another different location? That new location might be on New York and Sherman instead of down in Twin Air area. I do not agree with throwing away money, and those monies can be spent elsewhere. For example, could be spent over on 10th Street, Brookside Community Center, over on 38th Street, 38th and Keystone. We have all these issues. We even have high schools closing down. And we're talking about, okay, we have $20 million to allocate for an idea of something that has not been basically set in stone as of yet. We have paid $15 million already for designs, which the public, myself, have not seen as of yet. We've already paid over $6-7 million or $10 million in legal fees, in which I'm pretty sure all these services that has been paid for, why can we not reuse those services? Why can we not take these designs and details that we've already paid for, already purchased free and clear, and reuse them? Take them and reuse them, have the new engineers relook at them. Instead of us going out and looking for $1 million law firms, just go back to the same law firm who we paid $6 million to, $500,000 to, $600 and some thousand to, and so on. Let's go to them and ask them, you know what, take these documents you already prepared for us, and let's actually edit them, let's amend them to save us monies, save taxpayer dollars, okay? So that when you vote tonight, ask yourself one question. Who are you advocating for? Are you advocating for multi-million-dollar companies such as law firms and engineering firms, or are you allocating for the actual taxpayers itself? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Jess Ray with Woodside United Methodist Church, and usually I sit back and don't say too much about anything, and it dawned on me, yeah, this is about a jail, and it is the mental health, but, if you really look at it, it's for the growth of the city. And yeah, everybody complained when we built the arena, and everybody complained when we built the dome, and everybody complained when we built the field house, and everybody complained when we built the stadium. For the city to progress, move forward, okay, we got to put our arms around this, build the new facility, regardless of where. Twin Airs wants it, but the new jail has to go someplace because it can't stay where it's at. So I'm in support. Vote for 175. Let's move forward and make the city good. Hey, Hudnut would love it,
Thank you. Are there additional comments from councilors? Councilor Jackson.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to say with this proposal, I have talked to the mayor and the mayor's staff. It's great that it is inclusive of mental health, and it's inclusive of those that are on drug addiction and alcohol addiction. Also, I think we need to put some type of plan in place inclusive of this to move it forward in the actual proposal. It's just a tagline. It's not what I would call it. Jail's the job. You have a lot of jobs. You have a lot of nonviolent criminals that are repeat offenders that are because they're in jail, because they don't have the adequate resources, wraparound services that they need. So jail is their outlet that they go get help from, even if it's temporary. And because their crimes are so nonviolent, the judge puts them in jail, sends them out, and you'll see them back in jail again. So I would also include that component of piece to decrease the recidivism rate that we have. And also, folks, I hear you on the mental health, but we still need a jail, and I'll tell you why. We have a high murder rate here in Indiana, in Indianapolis. So I hear just the mental health piece and the drug addiction, but we have folks that need to be locked up somewhere. I don't know about you, but that's how I personally feel about it. When you take somebody's life, I don't know if you want them out on the street. I personally don't. But so with that said, I just hope administration, I've talked to the attorney for the mayor, and I just hope you take that part seriously. We're putting people in jail, especially minorities, on non-violent crimes that we can help them and give them this, put the money in like we're doing for mental health and drug addiction, and help these folks get jobs and gainful employment with a livable wage and the service they need, the housing, the other pieces. We have the facilities and we have the partners and agencies here in Indianapolis that we can bring to the table to make that happen. We just need to put it together. Thank you.
Councillor Clay.
Thank you, Madam President. I was hesitant to say anything tonight, but I think I feel some sense of urgency to weigh in on this publicly. You getting feedback?
Yeah, hold on one second. Councillor Jackson, is your microphone off? Okay. If you don't mind. Sorry about that, sir.
That's all right. Can you hear
Can
me?
you-
Slide
Yep,
to the right.
there you go.
I ain't been in church all my life. One of the things that I think that is important for us as a legislative fiscal body is to understand, again, our obligation to ensure that the taxpayers' dollars are best utilized and realized by these investments. By that, I'm talking about ensuring some mechanism to ensure that we don't overspend, to ensure that debt service is met and realized. I will support this, but I am concerned that we make sure we have the mechanisms in place, because we have not historically done a good job at realizing the benefits for consolidation of efforts. IMPD and the sheriff is one example. It was sold as an idea to which the city would benefit and realize savings. The consolidation of the fire departments was sold with the idea that we would actualize and realize benefits in terms of dollars. Both of those have not been the case. I would be extremely disturbed if we make this kind of investment and then not have the mechanisms in place to ensure that the agencies that say they are going to occupy this facility, that they occupy it and stay there. It would be a travesty of legislative and of epic proportion if we build this kind of facility and then agencies decide we can't actualize the savings, so we're not going to move in. We can't sustain the savings, so we're going to move out. We need to have a system and a mechanism in place that if we can capture savings now through leases, that is projected out over the term and the length of the note. Otherwise, we are getting ourselves in debt, and we won't be able to see our way out of debt, and we'll be passing it on to the next legislative body. Thank you, Madam President.
Additional comments? Councilor McQuillan.
Thank you, Madam President. My colleagues and I have all had an opportunity to review this plan extensively on both sides of the aisle. But for me, the most disappointing aspect has been the Marion County Sheriff's Department and they're backing away from earlier promised savings of $47 million a year to now over a $13 million a year reduction. And now, this administration is basically having to dig under the city couch cushions to find enough change to pay for this project. As a result, the plan tonight has taken money away from dedicated road funding. It also will reinstitute the HHC tax levy, which was supposed to have scheduled to roll off the taxpayer rolls, I think, in 2019 and 2022. And finally, the plan relies, I think, too heavily on Medicaid funding and does not adequately provide a management plan to ensure that savings are realized on a yearly basis. And that will be long after we're all gone. So yes, I agree, there is a need to build a new criminal justice center, and I want to see us build a new criminal justice center. However, we as counselors must make the final plan make sense. For those reasons, I ask my colleagues to join me in voting no tonight on proposal number 175, because in the end, we can do better. Thank you.
Councilor Oliver?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. To piggyback on some comments that Reverend Clay has made already this evening, and some that I heard earlier, gave me some reassurances that we were on the right track, that in supporting this proposal number 175. Let me also add, my mind was made up a while back after talking with Reverend Clay, and he asked the kind of financial questions that satisfied me. But having arrived here this evening, on an unanswered question were the citizens of southeastern Marion County, and they showed up tonight and supported this proposal, and with that, I support it also. Thank you all for coming out.
Councilor Feaster?
Thank you, Madam President. It is great to see the community support. It is wonderful to me to be able to see the community engagement in this endeavor. For my own part, I took the initiative, and Colonel Martin, who spoke tonight, had given me a tour of the jail. And as a result, even though I went in knowing that we needed a new jail, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that we do need a new jail. The conditions there are not the best at all. It's wonderful also to hear the support for the mental health piece. But as several people have said tonight, we are the fiscal body, and so we have to find the money. We have to be sure that when we launch this 30-year commitment, that there is the money to pay for it over the long term. A couple of years ago, we had a proposal before us that would not have had any debt service. There was no borrowing involved. And that looms large in my mind, because the debt service will be hundreds of thousands of dollars over the 30-year period. We also need a funding model that will support all of the things that we want to do here in this city. And I have a real concern that it is dependent upon Medicaid. If you've been listening to the news coming from Washington, D.C. recently, you know that Medicaid is not a certainty at all. And so I really am torn, because I do want to support the jail, but I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel confident about this funding model at all. And I hope that we can come back to the table with a more stable and more secure funding model. So for this proposal, I will be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Councilor Wessler?
Yes, Madam President. There's been a lot of discussion tonight, a lot of pros, a lot of cons. The thing that boils down in my mind is we don't have enough information yet to vote yes or no. We need to send this back to committee for further evaluation, get more answers, more monies to find it, and let's take it. Don't take it from mental health, don't take it from the road, Medicare. I would like to see it go back to committee for further evaluation and see if we can get more answers of where this money's going from, and have the sheriff come up with more money that he had proposed on the last one.
Additional comments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to the board for our votes. Counselor Gray? Counselor Gray? We'll wait. No. That's what you're elected to do, sir. Ding. Counselor Jackson? The proposal carries 17 to 7. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 182, refer to Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee. 1 second.
Thanks.
Chairman Robinson, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam President. Proposal 182, 2017 approves an additional appropriation of $75,000 in 2017 budget of IMPD's Law Enforcement Equipment and Training Fund to purchase equipment for the Traffic Division and to reimburse for costs associated with the Leadership Academy. Valerie Cunningham, IMPD Deputy Chief of Administration, stated that this fund was established by ordinance in 2011 and allows for the department to collect revenues for 3 reasons: issuance of permits for police escorts, collection of fees associated with the Leadership Academy, and trademark licensing. By the end of 2016, there was a fund balance of approximately $180,000, of which IMPD requests to use $75,000 to cover the cost of the equipment and reimbursement for the Leadership Academy. Councilor Simpson moved, seconded by Councilor Evans, to send proposal 182 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. Motion carried by a vote of 10 to 0. Madam President, I so move.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Are there comments from councilors? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to proposal number 182? Seeing none, proceed to the board for our vote. The proposal carries 23 to 0. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 183, referred to Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee. Chairman Robinson.
Thank you, Madam President. Proposal 183, 2017 approves an additional appropriation of $800,000 in 2017 budget of IMPD's Infrastructure Improvement Fund for life safety repairs at the IMPD shooting range and structure improvements at the Training Academy. Kevin Wellington, IMPD Major, stated that the appropriation comes from a $4.7 million given to IMPD by the council in October 2015, and $2.7 million of which was to be used to purchase vehicles. Major Wellington stated that by the time they were able to do the necessary repairs to begin the project, they missed the 2016 purchasing deadline. He said that they were now ready to go to bid, but they do not have the money, which is why they are now requesting $800,000 in appropriation. Councilor Simpson moved, seconded by Councilor Oliver, to send proposal 183 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. Motion carried by a vote of 10 to 0. Madam President, I so move.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Are there comments from councilors? Councilor Clay?
I was not at the public safety meeting, so I'm asking this question. I perhaps would have asked it had I've been able to attend on that night. Is this an additional appropriation, or is this dollars that was not spent in the last fiscal that we are now authorizing to be spent now? CFO Brown.
Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam President. Councilor, this is a reappropriation of money they were not able to spend in 2015 and then again in 2016. So this will be the third time we appropriate this particular money for this particular project.
So it's not new money, it's money that was already there, we're just moving it into the next fiscal because it was not
Yes, sir, that's absolutely correct.
I would further say, if you would, Madam President, that while I plan to support this, I do so with the understanding that with this nearly $2.8 million investment in the range, all dollars considered, we're looking at about $2.8 million, that these are taxpayer dollars, and that there is a reasonable expectation that the public have access to the range. I have been given some assurances from IMPD's top cop that they are open and amenable and willing to ensure that the public have access on a scheduled basis with the proper training and with the proper oversight. My support of this is contingent upon that becoming a reality. Thank you, Madam President.
Additional comments, Councilor Feaster.
Thank you, Madam President. I was at the Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee meeting and heard the testimony about the safety of the range and how the engineering folks were saying that it was currently not safe. And we already have one police officer in critical condition because of an accident. We don't want any more police officers sent to the hospital because we are negligent about making the gun range safe. So I am totally in support of this, but as Councilor Clay mentioned, I have constituents asking me about public access to this range, and I'm told that there will be a subsequent process that will allow for that, so I'm counting on that being the case, and I will be in support of 183 tonight. Thank you.
Vice President Adamson.
Thank you, Madam President. I wonder, is there any insight that we have on why this has had so much difficulty being spent for it to have been reallocated and reallocated again? Does anybody know what that issue might be?
Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam President. With conversations with IMPD staff, their admin staff, the reason why they weren't able to get this at least encumbered in 2015 was they didn't have enough time. If you remember, that was part of a $4.7 million package we gave the IMPD, and it went back and forth between the council and the mayor's office and finally got approved late in the year. So we knew they were coming back in 2016. The individual who ran the range apparently was working toward it, but unfortunately he got some estimates and quotes that were at least $1 million over what we had appropriated, so they had to basically change leadership there and start all over again.
Additional comments, Councilor Jackson.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess I'm gonna do something bipartisan tonight. I echo what Councilor Clay and Councilor Feaster said. My vote is support with contingent based on that there will be opportunities for residents to have access to the range because it's on Parks land, the Parks land, and taxpayers pay for it, so why can't taxpayers should be able to use it? So with that said, I just think that we come to some agreement where we have some good times and dates that works for residents as well. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak to proposal number 183? Seeing none, we'll proceed to the board for our vote. The proposal carries 23-0. There is no business under special orders unfinished business. We'll proceed to special orders final adoption. Proposal number 178, refer to Parks and Recreation Committee. Chairman Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the Park and Recreation Committee met and it added a new section to the code regarding standards for off-leash dog parks under the jurisdiction of the Department of Parks and Recreation. Madam Chair, the vote passed out of committee by a vote of 4-3. Madam Chair, I so move for its adoption.
Madam Chair.
There's not a second yet.
No. Oh.
A second. The motion's been properly moved and seconded. Councilor Simpson.
Madam Chair, Frank Muscari and I wish to postpone proposal 178 back to committee so that we can vet this out in the community, because I think there's a lot of confusion about what's going on with this. And so we feel that it's best to go back to committee and have some public hearing so that people get a proper understanding what this proposal is all about.
Can you restate your motion? You moved to,
Postpone.
no?
Move to send it back to committee. Proposal 178.
Thank you. Is there a second to send
Second.
proposal? The motion has been properly moved and seconded to send proposal number 178 back to committee. Comments from councilors? Councilor Scales?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to clarify, I erred in my previous second. I thought we were voting on seconding another item. Sorry.
All good. Additional comments from councilors? Seeing none, we're voting to send proposal number 178 back to committee. Councilor Clay? Councilor Clay, and Councilor Miller. The proposal carries 15 to 9. The send it back to committee, I'm sorry, as it didn't carry. We're sending the proposal back to committee. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 184, refer to Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee. Chairman Robinson.
Thank you, Madam President. Proposal 184, 2017 amends Chapter 407, Article 4 of the Code regarding unmanned aircraft vehicles to bring it to compliance with recently adopted federal regulations and state statute. Councilor Miller stated that Chapter 407, Article 4 of the revised Code of the Consolidated City and County needs to be amended as recent changes have been made in the federal and state regulations regarding unmanned aircraft vehicles since the council adopted an ordinance for the Consolidated City and County 2016. Councilor Miller stated that the Section 333 of the Federal Aviation Administration's Modernization and Reform Act of 2012 states that one must be a pilot of a real helicopter or airplane in order to fly a drone commercially and follow most of the rules governed to fly a manned aircraft. Councilor Wessler moved, seconded by Councilor Kreider, to amend Proposal 184, and the motion carried, to amend and add the Marion County Fairgrounds, the Marion County Fairgrounds to the proposal. The motion carried by a vote of 10 to 0. Then Councilor Kreider moved, seconded by Councilor Scales, to send Proposal 184 to the full council as amended with the due pass recommendation. That also passed 10 to 0. Madam President, I so move.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Are there comments from councilors? Seeing none, we'll proceed to the board for our vote. The proposal carries 23 to 0. The next item on our agenda is proposal number 184, refer to Public Works Committee. Vice President Adamson.
Thank you, Madam President. With consent, I'd like to take proposals 185, 86, and 87 together.
Please do.
Thank you. Proposals number 185 authorizes intersection controls at Beauport Road and Fredonia Road in District 6. Proposal number 186 authorizes intersection controls at Butler Avenue and 25th Street in District 13. Proposal number 187 authorizes angled parking at 525 South Meridian Street in District 16. All votes passed out of committee with an 8 to 0 vote to pass at the full council, and I so move.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Are there comments from councilors? Seeing none, proceed to the board for our vote. The proposals carried 24 to 0. The next item on our agenda is Special Service District Council. There is no business there. Is there any new business before the council? Seeing none, we'll proceed to announcements and adjournment. The docketed agenda for this meeting of the council having been completed, the chair will now entertain motions for adjournment.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes Councilor McQuillan.
Thank you, Madam President. I've been asked to offer the following motion for adjournment. By Councilor Adamson in memory of Deani K. Saunders. By Councilor Wessler in memory of Lieutenant Leo George, Corporal Keith Bryant, Catherine Van Pelt, and Robin Wisman. By Councilor Feaster in memory of Suzanne Binder, Sharon Caldwell, Carl Boger, Wycliffe Gibson, Eddie Duckworth, and Reed Moisner. by Councilor McQuillan in memory of James L. Jim Neff and Earl E. Cornwell Sr. Madam President, I would like to move the adjournment of this meeting of the Indianapolis City County Council in recognition of and respect for the life and contributions of those persons I have here specifically named. I respectfully ask the support of fellow councilors. I further request that the motion be made a part of the permanent records of this body, and that a letter bearing the council seal and the signature of the president be sent to the family of each person advising of this action.
Thank you, Councilor McQuillan. Here no objections. The motion is received and our requests are so ordered. Here no further motions. We are adjourned.